welcome to the Ag Learning Center. This is a brand new barn. As you can probably tell, we're extremely spoiled to have this building. It was recently restored as one of the oldest barns left on campus. It has a lot of roots at UMass Aggie and within the Stockbridge School. It's a whole nother story, but I guess about 7 years ago, there was an idea on campus, because this is a historical landmark, to repurpose this building, and so lucky for us, we got it. But that's not really what I'm here to talk to you about. I wanted to give you a little bit of background about how we got to this location. We started like most small farms, washing in the field, and I know a lot of the people you're going to hear from today are going to talk about the structure itself. We tried to make it as clean as possible, but we've already failed a few things. So, and I think that's good because we can look at something that's brand new. We moved in April of 2018, and we just started really using this facility basically a little bit last year, but primarily this year. So, just for a little background, I just wanted to again tell you like where we started. So. The student farm started in 2007 by Ruth Hazard and myself. And when we first started doing production, we were on less than an acre of land, and we washed in a small tent in the field. This is kind of like our typical scene, which now I look at that and I'm like, oh, and I cringe a little bit, but it is what it is. This was kind of our story, and we had a lot of problems with tents in the field blowing over and getting destroyed. It was like, happened at least twice a year, and we never learned. So the next year we decided to move. This is the South Deerfield farm, which I'm sure a lot of you have been to. So that's the old dairy barn behind us, and we were washing in another utility shed across. What was good about this was that it was covered. We had access to water a little bit easier than where we were before, but one major problem with this location was that we were dragging these hoses across the road, and sometimes the cows would be moving from pasture to pasture through the roads. We were dragging the hose through that. That's like one of many problems with this location, but I think this year we were maybe on an acre and a half. A lot of our delivery went in these Home Depot bins that we just washed and reused. And I think at that time we were probably only growing like maybe 5 different items. So the next year we said, okay, we can't drag the hose across the road because of the cows, so let's move right next to the dairy barn, which I thought was a good idea, but we're even closer to the cows at this stage. We weren't dragging the hoses, but you can see we didn't really have any ways to keep clean product off the ground. We were doing most of our washing in dung tanks. We had no equipment or anything like that. This is just another image of kind of like the aftermath of our washing, which, you know, as you can tell, has problems in itself. A lot of things were sitting in the mud, but they were good. We were still better than being out in the field with a broken tent. And then the year after that, we decided to, I know this is like something that you're going to be talking about later, like retrofitting spaces that you already have on the farm. Oops, let me go back to that one for a second. So this was the old milking room for the dairy barn that I showed you in a few slides before. The university used to milk 120 cows, but it hasn't been in operation since maybe the early 90s. So this space was being used by the animal science in the winter for basically storage and cleaning of booths and for the students to store their gear in. So it really wasn't being used during the summer when we needed it. And so we moved into this space. We had electricity, we had heat, we had lights. Most of our production is fall, and so that was really essential to have in the winter. Here's just another picture of our setup here. And so I think it was about this time when we started thinking about GAP certification and other certifications that were needed on the farm, and we started really looking at this site. And we found some E. coli around here. I mean, I don't know how old most like this E. coli that we found was, but in these drains here, you know, that was like where milk and manure troughs went so many years ago. And we had Amanda Kinchlet from the food science department come in and take some samples and some swabs, and it really turned out to be not the cleanliest space, but a bigger issue was the location of that place. And so here is where we just were. Our coolers were over here. And so typically the bulk of our fields are out here. And typically we would bring the product in and park here, and it would either go in the coolers or we'd walk down this trough and bring it over here. Sometimes, even worse, we'd have students walking through the dairy barn to bring stuff into the coolers over here or into the washroom. And so it was really, I guess I would say at this stage, so this is 2014, I think, where we had sort of experts come in and say, you really need to think about behavior change on the farm. And it mostly was, where are you moving your product? And so this image is from our first CQP inspection, where they really wanted to see how is the product coming from the field into the wash area, and then how is it going out to delivery. And so that seems really easy, but it was extremely hard to get a crew of 12 students, myself and all the staff on the same page with that, because it's a pain in the butt. You can see the big difference in just walking bins. It was not an easy thing to do. I think maybe this year, we finally figured out that for us at least, all of the food safety stuff with the record keeping seemed pretty daunting, but that turned out to be the easy part. It really was training the people on the farm and getting people to sort of rethink the way that they were handling products on the farm. So it was also this year that we started production here. So we have about 10 acres in South Deerfield and another 12 here. And we came back to the same situation of a tent outside. So this is a spot way up on the hill back there near our fields. And again, we had water, we brought in crushed stone, we had the tent, it's freezing, the tent's breaking all the time. Not ideal, but it was better than nothing. And we also this season were contacted by Big Y, which is one of our main markets, and said, we're gonna be requiring GAP or CQP this season. And so our students that year were faced with a real challenge of, we want to maintain this wholesale market presence, but right now we're not really up to code with, or snuff, or I don't know what the word is, but we're still kind of doing this after years of okay, we know what to do, we're changing our behavior, we're washing our hands, we're doing the best we can, we're writing everything down, but we're still in this same situation. And so this building was not here. So we were also in this predicament that I think a lot of small farms are in, where you have this market presence you want to maintain, but you don't necessarily have a $100,000 barn that's really clean at your disposal. And so we built a portable wash station on an old car trailer that we pulled out of the woods. The students, I have to give them credit for this. I said, here's this situation, what are we going to do? We had an old barn that we could retrofit. We had tents outside that would blow over all the time, or we have this old car trailer. And so I don't have that here for you to see, but if anybody's interested at some point, it's in South Deerfield. And the biggest thing with this unit was, so this is obviously our design, but that the dirty produce would come in on one side, it would run through the trailer. We had a brush washer, a triple rinse sink, our packaging and invoicing, and then either it would go right into the trucks out to delivery, or it would go on a clean, sanitized pallet and then back to our coolers. So again, we had to show that pathway of where the product was going. And here's a picture of it. It's sort of like working in a Manhattan apartment. Everything's small and upright. And working with Lisa, I was like, there's no way this is gonna pass inspection. I mean, it just, in my mind, I thought we needed something like this, where we're at now. And I realized through this project, it probably cost us, we got the car trailer for free, but outside of that, it was about $5,000. And we got 2 food safety improvement grants from MDAR to buy new bins. We bought a brush washer for this. And so here we are with our little tent system. This looks really good. We were all excited, and then this happened on a Saturday. So I was like, really? Here we are again, back at the same place. And so all our bins knocked over, everything had to be clean, there was bird poop everywhere. And the $1,000 stupid tent that we bought is destroyed. And so then we decided enough of that, and we built a roof system for the trailer. And one thing we really wanted this unit to be able to do is to move from location to location, which is why we built it on the car trailer. And so it is a registered trailer. So we made these roof panels removable so that if we were driving it down 116, it would be a little less hazardous. And so here is the unit sort of finished. So we have our hand washing sink up here, our single-use disposable paper towel place, and then our brush washer. You can't see it there. I think it's in my next picture here. But comfortably, no more than 4 people can be on this unit at the same time. And so we have people coming from the field, bringing product in, and then folks up there doing all the washing and packing that they need to do. This season, when we had this in full swing, we were at about 8 acres. So not too much. And here it is being transported. So our early season production is in South Deerfield, so the unit is there in the spring and the summer, and then we transport it down here and put it up at the top of the hill where our water and power is. And so having this unit was amazing. We used it for 3 seasons. We actually used it this year, but now we have this. So here's the next picture, and I think that's my last slide. And so for us, I guess we're still using those same principles of this, where dirty product comes in from the fields. We back the trucks up here, everything's unloaded, and then it finds a pathway to go. We have a barrel washer that's normally set up where you're sitting, but wherever products are destined to be washed, they go there right away, and they either go into our new cooler or they go out for delivery that day. All of our packaging, we've tried to, in bins, whether they're dirty or clean, we have them lifted off the ground. And we have our 3-base sink and a dryer over there. We're really fortunate in that we have a crew of students that can come in. We do all of our harvesting in a 2-hour window for the most part, sometimes longer, and then products either, like I said, stored or brought to market, and then we clean up for the day. I have to be honest, we did clean a little very thoroughly this morning, knowing that you guys were gonna be in here, but, and also we've only been in here for 2 seasons, so things are pretty in good shape right now, I guess I would say. So that's kind of the story of how our farm got to this location, with the other component that the university had to save this barn, and it needed a home and a place, and so for us it sort of made sense. So, does anybody have any questions about that story?
Wasn't there a barn over there?
No, there was a barn over on that side of the property, and the farmers, there were 3 farmers who used to own this property here, the Wysocki, Adams, and the Taylors. And in the 1940s, they all went in and built a big barn together, and it burned down. And then they sold the property to the university. It's sort of the history in a nutshell. But this barn was over by the parking garage, where the power plant used to be.
Doesn't look like anything is old.
No, if you go over there, it's old. Well, this is why I say it's more of a reproduction barn. The original idea was to move the entire structure, but it couldn't. It had a lot of damage, and so I don't know the percentage that's actually the original. Maybe 20%. All the roof rafters up in the upstairs are the original, and some of the stalls over there are, but the majority of it is reproduction. Yeah.
How much were you involved in the design of this space?
Yeah.
And who did it? I mean,
yeah, so we worked with a team of architects, and one thing that was challenging with working with the sort of under the umbrella that preserved UMass, the historical committee at UMass mandated that so much of the barn be an exact replica. Like, this is a horse barn, so a lot of these posts were here to support stalls, which, I probably wouldn't have, I don't think we need, I don't know. there's a lot of them, but we were able to work with the architects for where all the power and the water was gonna go. We spec'd out power needs for this cooler, even though we didn't have it at the time. And everything here is a little above and beyond because it is the university. I mean, a little is probably an understatement. But we never had bathrooms on site. That was a huge thing. Now we have 2 bathrooms here, and just having a driveway and a place where we can hold meetings like this has been huge. Although the primary use is a wash and pack station. But there was only so much manipulation of the original footprint that we could do.
How's the water management stuff like on the floor, the barrel washers and stuff like that?
Yeah, the barrel washer, obviously, honestly, the cleanup seems to take the most amount of water. These go right into town septic. One of the drains, I believe, has a tight tank for oil, some kind of separation system. It's really engineered. Yeah.
Is it drainage water you're saying then?
Town water, yeah.
You're saying that the drainage is after what year?
Yeah, I think so. As long as we keep the drains clean,
Yeah.
it seems to be okay. I think, every year we seem to manipulate little things to make it better. Like our 3-bay sink right now. Oh my God, Steve's here and he says, it's just like falling on your feet, which isn't ideal. The barrel washer has that spray thing, so everything's getting soaked. We have our packaging over here, so we have dreams for projects in the winter in which we can change things. Like I would probably have plumbed that a little bit differently. And, it's one of those things you don't know until you use it, I guess.